What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we're talking about free speech. I don't know if we're going to we're going to get into some fun stuff today. We're going to argue some politics. We've got Gene Volpe here, so we're going to talk about some of the things that he's noticing in social media, which part of that is driven by what's going on in politics. There's been some really interesting announcements. We've got robocallers being shut down. We've got EU doing stuff. There's, I think, Brexit. Something's happening with Brexit. I don't know. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff, but mostly we're going to try to bring it around to what do we talk about on social media that we're going to be allowed to continue to talk about and that will work with the platforms and where things are going so that we can continue to build real relationships and get real clients. We're going to try to keep it on track to that and not go way too far down the political rabbit hole because we certainly can. But first of all, the Junior Grandmaster himself, it's very casual. I enjoy it. This is fantastic. Greg, how are you today?
Has your therapist told you just have to embrace my casualness and not fight it at all times? And so now you're on Xanax and you're okay with this?
I don't care about you. I'm feeling great because I just turned down 2 clients this week, so I'm feeling free as a bird. Well, we don't have anybody in launch right now. It's very relaxing. I'm working on my book. I'm calmer. My blood pressure is lower. My energy levels are higher.
That's all bullshit.
Life is good.
That's all bullshit. Energy up, yes. Blood pressure down, no. I do not believe that bullshit for 1 second.
Believe it.
Man, Gene, we are hanging with a multimillionaire now. If he's turning down clients, he's with the Blue Bloods now. I see.
Hey, listen, that's what I like about Matt Johnson. Always did. He's very like, nah, that's not going to work for me. I don't care if you have a check or not. It's not going to work. You're going to give me a headache.
That is 100% true. I actually did I fired a client here about 2 months ago. Like they were in launch, and yes, I fired them.
You're just like, fuck you, you're out, bye. And
love them to death. They're great. They're awesome. Not a good fit for our service. And yeah, it was. But you're right, Gene. I've become much more like that. I've become much more salty and much less tolerant of being run over. I will not be run over anymore. So I'm not gonna take on clients that aren't a good fit for our service. So I've turned down a lot of business over the last 3 months.
You don't want any dating gurus? You don't want any more dating gurus? Like I can send you a couple more dating gurus.
No, I don't need a dating guru. No.
Oh man, so we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. There's some stuff that's crazy town. We were doing some show research, and there's an article I got to try to find when it comes to cold calls and some stuff like that. But I mean, in the comments, guys, I want you to type in anything that you're hearing about what we're talking about, and then we'll feed off of some of your comments here, like Hungry Piranha. But Gene, you were off air. You were going into some interesting shit. So just pick up the conversation, and kind of give everyone a backstory. But just jump into it because I think it's fascinating.
Which part about it? The Twitter stuff?
Facebook stuff.
Oh, the Facebook stuff. Yep. So I got a call from my team lead this week, and actually I haven't even put together a video yet because I'm getting ready to create a notification for my clients that we're going to send out. And so it looks like, and I'm going to be searching while we're talking here. I'm going to try to find the article, but it looks like Facebook is going to move away from the news feed.
That's just baffling.
Well, you know what it is. So initially there were 2 thoughts. Like when she called me, I thought, Facebook is dead. And what does this mean for my business as a digital marketing agency, right? And then by the end of the call, when she explained to me, she's really smart, and it's nice to have her on my side because she keeps up with that stuff and lets me understand and unwrap it and be able to talk about it. But she was saying it stems a lot from all the stuff that was going on with Cambridge Analytica. So there's a couple events that have happened, right? So they lost the data. Or the data went to Cambridge. Cambridge stole it. They bought it. However you look at it, and people went nuts. So they had to answer to the politicians on Capitol Hill. You guys saw all that going on, and then fast forward. There's been other things that have happened, but then fast forward to this Christchurch shooting, where there were a couple of different feeds on Facebook and some of the other platforms. I think Facebook just happens to be one of the most notable because of the size of it. But where they live stream this stuff, and people are losing their shit. Because their kids are online watching, and all of a sudden there's an actual live shooting at a synagogue or wherever, not a synagogue, but wherever it happened, and so Facebook has to answer to that. And so they're now pivoting, and they're going to change things. And I think one of the things they were talking about changing was getting away from the one-to-many conversation and focusing more on what we've been talking about for the last 6 months, which is the one-to-one.
Yeah,
so
but what's it going to do for Facebook Lives and a lot of us, that we're all putting our stuff out there, like me, this show? I mean, is it going to be reachable now to people, or is that just going to be going by the way of the dodo bird?
So, both. So this is what I'm hearing. And remember, most people don't even know that this is happening yet, let alone I don't have all the details. So this could change tomorrow. I could be blowing smoke because Zuckerberg woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, I changed my mind, we're going back. But what I'm hearing is Facebook Live is going to take precedent over just about everything else, but they're going to also pigeonhole you by saying we want 3 to 7 minute videos when you're doing Facebook Live, and with the type of engagement that you get in the Facebook Live will determine how far up you show when people jump onto the main page of Facebook. So in other words, there's still going to be content that's out there, but your organic reach is going to go completely away for the most part. And what they said is, and she said this to me when we were talking about it, she said, pay little, get little. Pay big, get big. So in other words,
for that.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, listen.
I was waiting for that.
Listen, Greg, you know this. We've talked about this 100 times. If the people that are watching this don't think that this was set up from 2005 when they started Facebook, you haven't been paying attention. It's just that's the way it's been going slowly by slowly. They've squeezed the organic reach, focused more on paid. Well, listen, that's their prerogative. It's their business. That's how they make their money, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the fact is, like, when Facebook Live came out, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. The count, I mean, it was like a kid in a candy shop, and I'm like, dude, there's no way they're gonna let this go for free forever. No way. And so I've often said I would be happy to pay a flat fee of, like, I don't know, a couple $100 to have complete, ability to go to broadcast to whoever I wanted to. But I mean, imagine 2 billion people paying $200. Okay, that's but then that gets you right back to where you were. Whole bunch of white noise, no one-to-one conversation. It's just a big
and that's the thing
noise.
is that, we've been caught for essentially ever since YouTube and Facebook kind of came on the scene. Everything, and I would include Gary Vee's entire point of view on this in what I'm about to say. For the last 10 plus years, we've been reaching people for free by getting some other company to choose us and put us in front of those people for free.
Yep.
We twist ourselves in pretzels trying to figure out what content matches both what people want, but more importantly is what is some other company willing to pick up and syndicate and put in front of people for free, rather than looking at it as basing our business off of, hey, I got to pay to reach people anyway. And then comparing that to direct mail and going, okay, well, this is a little bit cheaper than direct mail, right? So I'm going to do that instead of direct mail, right? Like there's, to me, like the cost of reaching people should always be compared to the cost of reaching people in the real world. And for a long time, that, for a while, that was TV and mass media and stuff like that. That's not really practical if you're a real estate agent. So direct mail, postcards, local radio and stuff like that, like there is real hard cost to put a message in front of somebody. And for a while there, Facebook and Twitter made it seem like if we just hustled hard enough, we could put our message in front of millions of people.
And that was true. And that was true. That was true.
If you catch the exact right content, that hits both what people want and is a format that the platform itself likes and wants to promote and put in front of those people. And we spend a lot of times twisting ourselves in pretzels trying to figure out what is that content that both people want and the platform wants so that we get those eyeballs for free. And now things are changing to where we might not get the eyeballs for free and everybody's having a freak out party.
Wow. That makes two of us.
That makes everybody.
What about YouTube? Is YouTube still going to remain free? I think Michael Stelzner might have nailed it on the head when he's like, we're pulling all the shows from Facebook, we're going over to YouTube, we're doubling down on YouTube because that's where the long form content is.
Yeah, but remember what he did? He pulled his long form content. The short form stuff is still there because there's still a place. Well, right?
Yeah, and I think like if you think about like let's say something happened to where like let's say the news feed legitimately goes away, and the only way to use Facebook to kind of communicate is it kind of switches over to Facebook Messenger. Well, what's the next natural evolution of that? It would be group messages, right?
Yep.
So is it not possible, Gene, to build up an audience of people who agree to get your group messages and get your content delivered in Facebook Messenger, as long as Facebook allows it to be more than, let's say, 100 people.
Yeah.
If you had 100 people who opted in and gave you legitimate permission to keep in touch with them and deliver them content through Facebook Messenger, as opposed to through their news feed, wouldn't that be more valuable than Facebook putting stuff in their news feed without their permission that they don't care about?
Yes, and I'll do you one better, because this is part of the conversation that we had on Monday. There, people who have private groups are going to win. So
yes,
if you have
yes, exactly.
Right. So right now, what they're saying to you is, we have too much of this problem with people coming to us and saying, we want all of our content for free, but hey, you insulted me by showing me that. So now what they're saying is, when you get into Gene's group, because you accepted that, Gene can say anything he wants to you. You've accepted the agreements in terms of being in that group. So when he says the word hell and you're offended, then you can get out of the group. Right? So
I hope so. I hope it stays that way. Now, the interesting thing about Facebook specifically is the discrimination part of it, right? Because Facebook groups they should be part of free speech and free association, which means you should be able to freely discriminate on who gets into the Facebook group that you run. Now, Facebook just got slapped with something that basically took away their ability for anyone advertising housing to put ads in front of somebody that, like the HUD, like the Housing and Urban Development, just filed this lawsuit or something like that. They've supposedly been working with Facebook to help Facebook, in this altruistic attempt to help Facebook meet their arbitrary rules, like help Facebook fit their advertising platform to where they're not allowing people to discriminate, which is one thing when it comes to advertising a listing. I get it. When it comes to Facebook groups and private groups, that is the problem. Like, you cannot have a Facebook group without discrimination. You have to have the ability to choose who the group is for and decide how aggressively you want to enforce rejecting everybody else. So groups should win. The question is whether Facebook group will allow groups to be discriminatory. And if anything comes like legally or culturally that accuses Facebook of allowing discrimination just by allowing groups to exist where certain people aren't allowed in.
And it will.
The question is, will they give in?
Well, so here's a couple interesting pieces I want to talk to you about, right? Because you just brought something up that makes my head explode.
I always bring up things that make your head explode.
Well, this is true, and I know we've talked about this before, because I don't know if maybe it was just me and Greg talking about it, or it was off air. I can't remember. But the Housing of Urban Development suing Facebook for discrimination is like this. This is the way I see it. It's akin to me drinking 14 quarts of vodka, right? Getting in my car, taking my Honda up the street, killing 4 people, and those people suing Honda.
That's a good analogy.
Like, think about that.
Yeah, they can't come after the individual people who are running the ad, so they come after Facebook, who's just providing them a platform for doing things the government doesn't like. It's ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous. Like, here's the thing. You guys are licensees. If you screw around with the rules and the things that you're allowed to do as per your license, you should have to have that happen. Not me. I'm in marketing. So because real estate agents are messing with the system and HUD doesn't like that fact, the system that, by the way, has way more in it than just real estate. You're right? You would agree with that. Facebook is not a real estate platform. It's a world platform, right? So now I can't market to specific things because realtors don't know what they're doing. Like, to me, that's like, I just don't get it. That makes my head hurt.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone's going to get their little snowflake feelings hurt at some point. And, just kind of buck up, Buttercup. Stop being a bitch. I mean, if you don't like it, shut the fuck up and go somewhere else. In all honesty.
Yeah, the thing about free speech is it shouldn't be. I mean, the First Amendment doesn't guarantee your right to not be offended by what somebody else says.
Right, but I mean, if you don't like, a certain religion, don't go to fucking church there. If you don't like, guns, don't walk into a gun store. Don't like alcohol, don't go to an alcohol store. But people are going to be doing things and saying things that don't agree with your morals and your principles everywhere in the world. So why do you have to impose your rights and your beliefs on my life when I want to experience a certain thing and you might not want to? I just don't get it.
Control.
So let's bring it back to social media. I'm completely baffled on this one thing.
What's that?
Is that when it comes to the real estate agents and what we're doing out there, why is HUD filing this lawsuit? What is their dog in the fight? I mean, did someone get their real feelers hurt? I mean, did they get sued for something? Do we know why HUD is filing this suit?
No, there was nothing in the article that implied that some real person who felt like they were damaged by not seeing a Facebook ad for a certain house has brought any sort of lawsuit, which is the only thing that should have ever caused this.
That's ridiculous.
What's driving this is that the government wants to regulate Facebook as if it's a public utility.
Well, yeah,
because
there's
as
an
with
argument that it should be a
everything,
public utility
it's-
because it is such a main part of the culture. I mean, there's an argument for that as well. It's like it's such a mainstream thing. It is a utility.
I fundamentally disagree, and I
Well,
think that
you
Facebook
always
can get
disagree.
knocked off of its throne any time now by just the free decisions of a lot of people. But
Well,
I know
here's
what you
actually-
mean. But that
Actually,
is the
here's a
argument.
Really interesting point there. Last week, the Social Media Examiner was doing their big event. You know, you were down there.
Mm-hmm.
And Stelzner got up on stage on the live feed and he said, "Mark my words, another big tech giant is coming out with another social media platform that is going to knock Facebook down." And he's like, "I don't know where they're coming from, but I know that there's someone's building something out there to knock them off their throne." You
That's
know,
because
and
it's about time.
Well,
It's about time.
Yeah, well, it is
Yeah.
about time. And here's the interesting thing, right? So we haven't talked about this yet, so I'll throw this out there. This just happened this week. So the EU basically just passed a law that made the platforms, the online platforms and the social media platforms, make them double check before anything that could be potentially copyrighted is uploaded to their system. Now, the net effect of this, there's a whole bunch of effects, but one of the effect is that it entrenches the social media platforms and the internet platforms that already exist, and it punishes the ones that might be coming up, and it makes them harder to compete because the ones that are already established and have the money to comply by the government's rules, and the startups don't. So the net effect of this, I think, part of the reason why companies like, well, why would Facebook cooperate? Why would Twitter cooperate with governments that are regulating them? Because it's in their best interest. Because it makes it hard for the next platform that we might not even have heard of that's going to be invented in some dude's garage 2 years from now. If the government passes certain laws that makes it extremely difficult for that dude in the garage 2 years from now to get his social media network started, the number one benefit of that is Facebook.
Well, here's the other thing. There's a lot of, well, let me put my conspiracy hat on real quick. There's a lot of, talk that a lot of these major companies were funded with CIA, seed money. So they initially the government already had their fingers in all of these different pies. So they already were pulling the strings like a puppet master. And so there's just so many different, when you pull the layers back, it's an onion. You just don't know where it's going to go, where it's going to stop, And if did you guys know, and Gene, maybe you know how to do this, but I was told by Social Media Examiner when I was watching them, blew my mind. There's a way you can go and download all of your content, all your conversations, all your photos, every post, all your videos, and take it and you can download it and then upload it to another social media platform.
Well, I don't know about the upload part, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Google has a link where you can download all your data, and so does Facebook.
That's fascinating. I mean, basically, before it gets crazy, you should just do monthly downloads, eliminate the last one.
Here's the problem, dude. The files are so big.
I can't imagine.
They're so big, dude. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, I remember when I did it for Google, I want to say I had to quit it halfway through because I was like 6 hours in. It was like 33% done.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like you just have to have a life. It's crazy. But if you think about it, but if you actually think about that, think about how scary that is that they have that much data on you.
Oh, dude, it's every keystroke, every video, every word uttered, every word typed, every emoji, every connection to a connection. It's a never-ending spiderweb. But you signed the thing you never read called the disclosures, saying they can harvest all that.
And wait, actually, I want to step back because what I said, I don't want to create these false pretenses. It's not scary. Like I don't want to put the fear in people. Like, listen, this has been going on for the last 15 years. So it's not like it's anything new, and you don't need to be scared of it. You just need to know it exists, right? Like, it's convenience. You've signed up for the convenience. You've let go of your privacy. It is what it is.
Yeah, we understand that. If there's ever an argument to be made that there's a social contract, which I don't agree with in most other contexts, but this is actually true. Like, people do understand that they are giving away their content for free, and that another platform is holding on to and possibly analyzing and using that content and then turning around and selling it. And if Facebook tried to charge us all $5 a month to every person on the planet to use it, Facebook would probably fail because we don't want to strike that deal. That's why they haven't done it.
Which, now let's talk about the way that this started.
Okay.
It started because, I'll take you back to when Cambridge Analytica grabbed that data. Mm-hmm. They did something that you, Matt Johnson, and Greg McDaniel agreed that they could do, which was you put your data on the platform, they have access to it. Well, when it came to light and people saw actually how much it really was, everybody went like this. Hey, wait a minute. I didn't agree to all that. And so the politician stepped in, brought him to Capitol Hill. This is how all this stuff started. This is why now all this stuff is going down the road, and it's going very quickly because the times are changing so fast that now all these other places, like we talked a little bit about Twitter, Gab, these other places are now watching what's happening and changing their rules based off of the fact that Facebook is getting sued by HUD, right? So this, this is all the materialization of you signing an agreement and knowing it's there, but then somebody brought light to it, and then you went, hey, wait a minute, never mind, I changed my mind. Right, and everybody did it collectively.
Well, here's the thing: is that the government will side with the consumers under one circumstance: the solution they come up with expands their own government power.
Sure,
it's never actually about the consumer, but if the consumers have an outrage and the government can use that to then claim a little bit more power, they absolutely will, and I think that's what we see going on. There's a great comment here. This is from Bettina. She says, HUD says the Facebook advertisers have the ability to select who sees their ads, and that's redlining. But when we send out postcards, we have to choose who gets a postcard. How is that any different? And she's 100% right.
Good question.
Like how do you enforce people to spend marketing dollars to reach everyone, and who gets to define who everyone is? And if you can't reach everyone, you have to discriminate. And you can call it any other word, but that is what it is. It's using limited resources to advertise to the people that you think are most likely to buy a product or service from you, and you have to decide who you're going to advertise to. So just on its face, the idea of HUD suing Facebook for allowing people to, quote, redline is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, but wait, let me stop you, because here's the thought process behind that, right? You asked that question. I'm going to sort of answer it.
Okay.
The loophole is geography. So you're allowed to. So in other words, when I mail.
Oh yeah, I get it. Yes, it's not the same as determining by ethnicity. I would like to exclude all African Americans and Arabs from who I advertise to, because I don't want them moving in. I get that.
Exactly. I want to mail this to this development with 150 homes, except don't send it to the ones with dogs. You can do that on Facebook. You can't do that with the USPS, and be careful what you ask for, because that may come down the pike somewhere, right?
You never know.
You never know.
I would like to advertise to everyone but bald people, because they just.
I don't
and
trust
now I'm
them,
offended.
No hair.
They're shifty. Those bald people are shifty.
Now you're offended.
We are. Now I'm actually offended. I've had enough.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, let's talk about cold calling a little bit. So the FTC, the wonderful government entity, actually accidentally, like a squirrel finding a blind squirrel finding a nut, a government entity accidentally did something good, which is they shut down 4 major robocall operations. The call centers were responsible for billions of calls per year. They ranged from Net Solutions, which is a massive operation that pitched unsuspecting consumers everything from auto warranties to home security systems, to a company that used robocalls to promise consumers that they could lower their credit card interest rates. That sounds like just a great one, super altruistic. They would never do anything. They would never do anything unseemly with the credit card information that you'd probably have to give them.
No.
So Greg, you're a big cold caller. You continue to make what we would call cold calls. How does that affect you, and where do you think things are going cold calling wise?
I'm seeing a decline, honestly. I mean, any kind of outbound prospecting on a phone. I've tried time differences. I've tried different scripts. The people that are still receptive to it are the expireds, for sale by owners, for rent by owners. I'm seeing those be the most productive calls you can possibly do. People are hypersensitive about their phones, either getting a phone call on it or getting a text message on it. Even if they've opted into it, they freak out and lose their marbles. I don't know. WiseHire actually did. They just set up. They helped me. They really knocked it out of the park. I mean, really knocked it out of the park with lead gen for my sales rep position. Mm-hmm. And every single person that I would call to talk to, nobody picks up their phones. Nobody.
Oh, yeah.
But if I leave a message, they'll call me back. I sent emails, they responded. I sent a text message, they'll respond. But on just straight calls, I'm just not getting the response that I used to get 2 to 3 years ago. So is calling going to go away? I think it's either going to go away or it's going to radically shift, just because it's not a practical use of time. You know, if you're just going to do circle prospecting. If you're going to call all your expireds, very useful. All your for sale by owners, all your for rent by owners, pre-foreclosures, they're pretty cranky. But I mean, I think you have to be much more selective on where you spend your time, because people they're voting with their phone to say fuck you and go away. And I think, like we've talked about, like this year is the year of relationships, and Gail #BFF is in the house. And the fact of the matter is that building the personal relationship is going to be ultimately key.
Yeah, there's a great comment from Gail that I wanted to read real quick.
Please do.
Be top of mind with 132 people, and they will help you be sustainable. I think that's 12 people a month for 12 months. We received our 25th referral today to list one of our past clients' grandmother's homes. The key is staying top of mind with those who know what you do and how to find you. So I think she was piggybacking off of Gene. We were talking about, like, what if you had like a Facebook group message chat, right, and you could only have 150 people in it? Does that change the dynamics? Absolutely. Does it mean that you can't build a successful business using social media? Absolutely not.
Right.
If you have 150 people that legitimately want to hear from you about a topic that interests them, like, that's not a bad deal. Like that is worth, like, that group of people is worth investing your time and energy into. The only question is just how often do you go through there and make sure that they are the absolute right 150 people. Like, you might comb through your group a little bit more frequently and make sure that it's not just any old 150, that you keep refreshing it and replenishing it with new people.
You do that with your circle all the time. You know what I mean?
I do,
like,
but you always end up in the inner circle.
That's
no
only
matter how
I'm
no matter how many
that door
replenishes. When I see the Volpenator's name come up on my phone, I always pick up, and I don't pick up for most people.
This is true story, but I will tell you this, and this may change your mind a minute. 12 calls per month for 12 months is 144 contacts, not 132.
Oh,
so it's like real estate agents take a month off.
Trying to get better at math, but yeah, yep.
Oh, that is funny stuff, man. Unbelievable. Well, I mean, let's do a little forecasting here. Yep. So let's say that Facebook loses its news feed, so we don't have our organic reach goes to shit. HUD, we can't, and then a HUD lawsuit goes through, and we can't really hyper target our ads anymore. So we've lost another vertical of visibility to the right consumers. Correct? The alternative, why would you stay here if you can't get your message out? Why wouldn't you just go back to doing computer, off digital stuff? Go right. Old school, back out and just knock doors and say hi, and go have lunch, get a beer. What they would lose trillions of dollars ultimately if they take away everybody's advertising and marketing ability here to be seen. That's the premise of this, is to be seen. So it baffles me. I mean, to no end on this thing. I mean, if they blocked or stopped all of our stuff, I would stop. I mean, all the videos and everything that I do, the inspirational mornings with McDaniel, I'd stop. If they didn't allow anybody to see it, what's the point of doing anything here?
Yeah, but which I get it. But again, it's not that nobody would see it. It's that you have to have a deeper level of permission.
Right.
That's what a Facebook group is.
So you think of your CRM. You're getting 17% open rate on your CRM. Are you still doing it?
Actually, right? That's exactly the number I'm getting on my last video I sent out with viral, was 17%. Were you listening to me?
I'm not a ninja for no reason.
Damn. No, I'm very serious. That is the exact number that my coach Paul told me today.
Yeah, I believe you. I do believe you.
Right. Gene knows his shit.
But
not only does Gene know his shit, he knows your shit too.
I know.
That's right.
Talk about Big Brother.
Be afraid.
Jeez.
Yeah, like he can. This should be a carnival ride. If there was a digital marketing section at a carnival, it would be guess your email open rate.
We went super dork on that one.
I did. Sorry, I went super marketing nerd on that. It's like guessing the jelly beans in the jar, but it's like guessing your email open rates. Man, that's funny.
That is funny.
By the way, speaking of, check this out. I'm getting a robocall right now, but I downloaded the Verizon call filter.
Oh, the one.
So this is how it shows up.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
What do you have? Do you have a Droid or you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, because I think mine does that actually automatically. It'll say suspected spam.
Yeah, some have started to come. I think they said some have started to come automatically. I've got an iPhone 6 because I like it. So I just basically had to download an external app. But yeah, so now theoretically when a robocall comes in, most likely it's going to identify it and let me know in the description that it is a likely robocall, which is
Nice.
great.
Yeah, it is.
So again, that's again going to, make it even less likely that cold calling is a viable option, because I think more and more people are going to sign up for things like that. Or like you said, Gene, they'll start coming automatically on phones or built into calling plans.
Well, and listen, here's me, right? Every single number, I have 5,000 contacts. If you're not in my contact list, you are a spam call. So if it doesn't match it up to a contact in my list, you're going to voicemail. If it's important, well, have you seen this call screening yet? You probably haven't seen it because you have it.
Yeah, I have seen it. Which one are you talking about?
Well, so on my phone, it's built into the software where if you called me, I can hit answer, decline, or screen call. And if I say screen call, there's an AI voice that comes up and says, hey, you've called a number whose user is using a screening service. Please leave your name. And I can read it in real time. And so you could say, it's Matt Johnson. I'm just calling about X. That'll come up on my screen, and I can either dump you, answer it with a message, an automated message, or pick up the phone once I see it.
Wow.
Is that a Microsoft phone?
No, it's a Google phone, but I think it's all the Android software.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she has one of those, and she showed it to me. Like she got a phone call, and she's like, "Hey, this is what I was talking about."
Yep.
And it said the same thing. And I'm like, that is so cool, because I think only thing that likes to call me on my phone now are robocalls.
I wanted to know. I was going to ask you, does this mean the IRS isn't going to call me anymore?
That would be fantastic, right?
No, I love that. I love those phone calls.
I think there'll be a nice special exception carved into the rules for stuff like that.
Well, no.
Guarantee you that.
You don't know. The IRS doesn't call you. It's always that Indian.
You mean they're always scams or something?
Oh, the scams, dude.
Right.
They're the greatest. I'll have to record one of mine. I'll record one of mine for you one day.
I know. There's another podcaster out there that did it and published it on an episode of his podcast. Yeah, it was really good. Okay, so let's finish out with this. We talked a lot about different regulations and stuff like that, and that's always going to be ever-changing. We live in a world where we have an interesting, and everybody can disagree on what free speech is, and everybody takes those disagreements and baggage into how we're going to regulate our social media platform.
Yep.
So it's never going to be a truly free speech environment, because we don't believe in true free speech even in real life. And I think it's taken a little bit of time for the social media regulation to catch up with where we're at as a society in terms of how we treat free speech outside the internet. So I think that there's going to be more of that stuff coming. But in terms of marketing, I want to bring it back to some fundamentals, and Gene, help me out. I think there's always going to be a way that social media will allow us to communicate more than one-on-one. It may not be one to everyone or one to many or one to millions, but I think it's going to be one to group, which is a good thing. And those groups can be varying sizes, and the communication might be a little bit public where other people can see it, or it might be completely private where the only people can see it are the other people in the group, like a group chat. But in order for social media to make money, it has to at least have that function. We have to have the ability to communicate one to group. And that's all we as agents or marketers or anything, like that's mostly what we need. At least for relationship marketing. Maybe not to scale up ads to the moon and beyond, but
there's always going to be a TV commercial. It's just a matter of what you're watching your TV on.
That is true.
So whether you're Netflix or you're now Apple,
and whether you have permission to put it in front of somebody or not, whatever that permission looks like.
I don't know. That's interesting because
think about if you watch Hulu with ads versus Hulu without. So you choose to go to Hulu and you choose to not sign up. You're giving permission to see ads, probably tailored for you.
Yep.
And by not paying them, you're giving them permission to give you an experience that includes ads. Or you can pay them and you don't.
That's subject to change too, and it probably will at some point once these manufacturers and these streaming companies realize there's money to still be made. Because now think about, you've seen, it happens especially in sports now, where they don't cut away to a commercial anymore. Have you seen this now? Have you ever noticed?
No, what are you talking about?
So if you're watching like a football game, let's say, it'll be a break in the play. They take the football screen and they move it to the right, and then they show the ads. The commercial will run in the bottom left. And they do that so you can't skip through. So you're never leaving the game. You're still always watching the game. But now the advertisements are in the same view as the football game that you're watching.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Sure.
So, and that's just one example. I mean, I think these places, look, there's always going to be guys like me and you that want to get to as many people as possible, right? That's the race, isn't it? So I want as many people to see it, and I'm just going to make my move based off of what the best bang for my buck is. And if it's Facebook today, super. If it's Twitch tomorrow, okay, we move. So I think the biggest thing for us moving forward is to have a bunch, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Gary Vee's good at saying that too. If Instagram goes away tomorrow and you're an Instagram model, what are you going to do? Live on the street? So have your eggs, couple of your eggs in that basket, in your YouTube basket. I love when you do
Hey, at
that.
least you got plenty of cushion to heavy. If you're an Instagram model, you've got plenty of cushion to sit on if you're out on the curb.
Huh?
I didn't get that either.
Really? Nobody
Yeah.
got that? Are you kidding me? If you're an
No,
Instagram model, every Instagram model has a Kim Kardashian-sized butt.
Oh,
that is the deal
big
on
ass.
Instagram.
Oh,
So
dude,
if
that
you get
went
kicked off of
way over my
Instagram,
head.
you've got plenty of cushion if you're sitting on the curb.
I thought you were making an ass joke, but I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make
Thank
you say that
you.
in public.
God,
Totally missed it.
man alive. I can't believe I had to explain that. That is
I
the
had a
mark
long
of
week.
bad
I'm
comedy.
sorry. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
we're
clearly
laughing
this
now,
is
though, so it worked.
clearly this is default. Yeah, I was going to say, once I explained it, it's super funny. Fantastic. Good for me. I'm going to go into stand-up comedy, do an open mic.
That is great.
I'll just fly down just to see that.
Listen, I think, actually, if I'm going to be honest with you, if you're wrapping this up, good, because I think I may drop off here. My battery's going to crack right in a minute.
All right. Well, tell people what you do, because you want to reach everyone. I want to reach only the right people. But if you want to reach everyone, Gene's your man.
And Greg doesn't want to talk
what
to
do you
any.
do, Gene?
And Greg doesn't want to talk to anybody. We have the whole circle covered.
I think we have that completely reversed. Matt
Yeah, we
doesn't want to talk
probably-
to anybody. I want to embrace the whole world.
Well,
Yeah.
Greg wants to reach the many, as long as he doesn't actually have to talk to them one-on-one or leave his house.
Hey, blow me. I
That's 100%
I
true.
talk to people all
You
the
have
time.
you're way more of a hermit than I am. Believe
I
it or not.
am not.
You totally are.
I've
You just
become-
want to reach millions of people without leaving your place.
Frank Kleset's what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Frank, he just did that. I'm going to be on that Get Listing Summit on Sunday at 4:00.
Are you?
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's my window. So get out there and check that out for an hour and a half. It was actually a really cool interview that we did. Get out and watch that on GetListingSummit.com. Sign up for free. I'm giving away some free stuff at the end of it, a nice little cheat sheet so you can sign up for. So check that out. But if you want to talk to me outside of that, you can always get me at GeneVolpe.com.
All right.
You always
Greg,
tail off
how do
with
people
that.
reach out to you?
With love and compassion and the ability to.
And tacos.
And tacos with hot sauce.
With love and compassion and taco. That's how you reach out to Greg, with love, compassion, and tacos.
No, and beer.
First
Tacos
of all,
and beer.
that should be the title of this episode: Love, Compassion, and Tacos. That's way better than what I came up with.
Oh, people would have no clue. They just click on it and be like, what the fuck are these idiots talking
That
about?
was a Joe Rogan title. All right, Greg,
okay,
how do
guys,
people get on
so
your calendar to
Go
talk to you?
to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, it's bookmcdaniel.com. Let's talk about EXP. Let's talk about how I can physically show you you'll make more money working with EXP than you will with any other firm out there. And you, too, can wear no shoes all day long like I do. I'm barefoot right now. It's freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I put clothes on when I have to go be around the other human pods. But, go to EXP, go to EXP, go to Book McDaniel, get some time with me. Let's talk. I have a heart. I care. I love. I feel. Unlike Matt, who has a chunk of coal for a heart. When he doesn't care, he doesn't want to hear you. If he sees you call, he will not pick it up. We saw that evidence true on this show when he showed us his phone and did not answer it. I would have answered it. Anyways, how did they give it? Matt, where do they go to give us a review?
Apple Podcasts is the best place. Make sure to leave a 5-star review. If you like, having Gene on the show, give Gene a shout out in your review, which is super helpful. Also, we love Wise Hire. They're very supportive of the show, and obviously Greg was using them to hire sales reps for his radio show, which is going really well. So check that out at Wise Hire. They're doing a fantastic job for team leaders across the country, helping them advertise, sort candidates, match them up with the DISC assessment for the role that they're looking to fill on a real estate team. So whether you're a solo producing agent looking to hire your first assistant, or you're an experienced team leader and you want to hire like a listing agent to replace you, or a really badass marketing coordinator, whatever, go through Wise Hire to find them so you don't waste your time with all the unqualified, unwashed masses who have no business talking to you about that position.
Mm-hmm.
That is my take on Wise Hire. So,
dude, I gotta tell you, Wise Hire, they've been able to get 583 candidates for my radio show reps positions. Dude, I gotta share this with you because this is kind of what they've done and what they've done to filter this stuff. Once you learn their system, it's super, super easy. If my computer would go. Come on, jerk off. Let's go. Okay, so they sort them by excellent, very good, average, poor, incomplete, or in progress. I have 107 excellents, 84 very goods, 96 average, 133 poors, and then 141 incompletes. And the thing is they have a mass emailing system through there. I didn't really think about it, and Matt was summarily smacking me about this. But I went and I sent 428 emails in one blast to different groups. And he's shaking his head if your eyes are on the iTunes. But I got back such a massive response. I went from having no reps, signed up. Within 3 days, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that have signed contracts back to me saying they want to work with me in 3 days. So go with God, my child, if you want to go through 583 people that might not be good. Yeah, no, just don't do it.
Maybe not using the mass email function. All right.
Hey, it was
It
awesome.
up. In honor of Gene, let's do an orange bow tie upon this episode. No other forms and no other colors will be necessary. Let's tie a nice bow tie around this and get the hell out of here.
Oh my God, you love doing this. Shut your pie hole. Anyways, guys, thanks for being here. Matt even sometimes cares about you. I love you. Gene loves you. We appreciate you guys watching us, hanging out with us, and listening to us. If you guys liked it, give us a review. If you really liked it, call Matt on a cell phone, 401-332-1126. And he would be happy to come over and give you a nice back massage and make you a little cup of tea. Until next show, guys. Peace out, ninjas. We're gone.